Good evening, this is GRTS News at 2200 hours with me, Winifred Nicole. In the headlines this evening, the Minister of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology embarks on a familiarization tour of institutions under his purview. The World Bank Group launches a galvanizing strategy partnership program for the Gambia meant to accelerate growth, productivity and resilience. Plus, the Democratic Republic of Congo experiences high level of food insecurity, this as rising food prices impact on the country's vulnerable population. And UK's Telegraph newspaper named a South African city of Cape Town as the world's third greatest cities on earth after Spanish city of Barcelona and Sydney in Australia. Well, viewers, those are the headlines. Well, many thanks for joining us once again. Well, this is GRTS News with me, Winifred Nicole. The Minister of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, Dr. Pierre Gomez, on Monday continued his familiarization tour of institutions under his purview, beginning in the Greater Banjul area. Janke Toure accompanied the tour party and she now reports.
Country Partnership Framework for the Gambia was produced in line with the objective of the National Development Plan.
We'll still go ahead with the report by the Minister of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, Dr. Pierre Gomez, who on Monday continued his familiarization tour of institutions under his purview, beginning in the Greater Banjul area. More in this report by Janke Toure.
Accompanied by a high-powered delegation, this is the second leg of the tour conducted by Minister Pierre Gomez to tertiary institutions in the country. Accompanied by a high-powered delegation, this is the second leg of the tour conducted by Minister Pierre Gomez to tertiary institutions in the country. Minister Gomez visited GTTI to familiarize himself with the activities of the institution, as well as to get first-hand information on the challenges they are faced with, so as to come up with measures to address those challenges.
We are grateful and we want to say thank you for the visit.
The Gambia Technical Training Institute, GTTI, is a training institution mandated by the government through an Act of Parliament in 1980 to provide relevant education and life skills to its growing youthful population. And as part of the revitalization of technical and vocational education and training, TVET, the GTTI is earmarked to be transformed into a University of Science, Engineering and Technology, USED. The institution's staff cited some of their challenges hindering the development, calling for support.
We don't want to discard what they're doing here right now. The skill job is very, very important. Engineers cannot function without the technicians or the craftsmen. They can design all they want, but someone needs to put them together.
After listening keenly, Minister Gomez said his vision is to transform the higher education in line with the response and demands of the needs of Gambian people. Thus, the outline plans to support the center.
The technicians will be produced here in the Gambia. So we will continue to encourage and will engage also Kwame Nkrumah University and also the Montfort University from Leicester, UK, to continue the mentoring. Yes, but we will have to make sure that we do it right. We will not going to rush.
Minister Gomez also took a conducted tour to some of the facilities, including the institution's library, staff rooms, amongst others. The delegation later moved to the Management Development Institute, MDI, where similar meetings took place. Among the challenges outlined by staff are salary increment and more infrastructure development.
We are financially handicapped. We can't carry out all the desired proposed projects. We plan to carry out the following activities before end of 2023. We want to introduce diploma in Islamic finance, diploma in entrepreneurship, digitalization of library, construction of multi-purpose complex, construction of an examination hall, and sporting facility.
In response to their demands, Minister Games commended them for putting in place a well-organized institution, while assuring that their challenges will be resolved.
My team will contact you and we will roll it out. We'll start developing strategies. That is, by next week, we will invite all these tertiary institutions and higher education institutions to work in earnest. We need to now put our house in order.
At a conducted tour, Minister Games visited some of their new development sites, including the new standby generator and the new building block. The tour continues to other parts of the regions in the coming weeks. Janke Ture, GRTS News.
Moving on, the World Bank Group on Tuesday launched a program dubbed Galvanizing the Gambia Country Partnership Framework for the Gambia 2022-2026. The event was graced by officials from both the public and private sector organizations. The program also seeks to accelerate growth, productivity, and resilience. Senabu Jane has the rest of that story.
Country Partnership Framework for the Gambia was produced in line with the objective of the National Development Plan. It's been designed to deliver and to promote active participation within different sectors. Speaking on behalf of the Minister for Finance and Economic Affairs, Ibrahim Asilla, Minister for Transport, Works and Infrastructure, dilated on the importance of this framework.
The government of the Gambia, cognizant of the important role of the three World Bank Country Partnership Framework principles play in strengthening the country's socio-economic development, has developed strategies to strengthen our democracy. Key amongst these is the strong political will of the three arms of our government, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, in nurturing the principles of democracy and the rule of law in our governance system and architecture. This is manifested in the strong oversight functions the National Assembly plays in scrutinizing the use and management of public funds and establishing robust laws to enhance the country's democratization process. I have no doubt that the World Bank Country Partnership Framework will support government in achieving its quest to enhance and nurture our newfound democracy, accountability, and transparency for greater citizen participation, to enhance inclusion and sustain economic growth of our country.
He emphasized that the Gambia government will continue to work with international partners towards the development of the country. The CPF is expected to last for 5 years and aims to protect 250,000 communities against coastal and urban flooding, a 68% increase in mobile money, and 90% to have access to electricity in the Gambia. Resident representative of the World Bank, Fayu Borofis, further explained.
So we're building on our past and ongoing assistance. We want to channel World Bank Group financing and also our advisory services and our analytical work as well. And we want to increase engagement from the other members of the World Bank Group, including the International Finance Corporation, otherwise known as the IFC, and also MIGA, our Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency. We want them to really increase their support to the private sector in the Gambia, and the CPF actually outlines that. We had the CPF ready since last year, actually. I know many of you would have engaged with us as we were preparing it, but we wanted to make sure that we validated it with the new administration. So we have met already with the president to ensure that this is aligned as they're moving forward.
The World Bank Group urged their partners in development to work towards the implementation of the various projects within the 5-year framework. Sainabu Jane for GRTS News.
In another development, the Ministry of Health, in collaboration with the Catholic Relief Service and the Rotarian Against Malaria on Tuesday, sensitized pregnant women and mothers of children under 5 years ahead of a campaign for the distribution of insecticides-treated bed nets in June. Yasin Jiba covered the event and she now reports.
Pregnant women are at increased risks of malaria infections and its consequences that are harmful for both the mother and the unborn baby. One of its prevention is the administration of the Fansida in the first trimester of pregnancy and the use of insecticides-treated bed net.
The aim why the government come with this strategy this year to sensitize the public, especially the pregnant women and the under fives, because they are the most vulnerable within the society. So once we do the sensitization, people will accept that these nets are very good. When you sleep under it, you will be protected from malaria bites and the malaria disease and the endemic.
The Ministry of Health, CRS, and the Rotarians Against Malaria deems it fit to engage the pregnant women, mothers of children under 5. The Vector Control Officer at the National Malaria Control Program, Samuel Gamis, dilated on the importance of sensitizing pregnant women and mothers on the effects of malaria.
The Malaria Control Program joined hands with Rotary Club International so that we sensitize the women, because the target this year is the general population. The entire population is the target, so we want to make sure that every household is visited and then they are registered and then given the bed nets. Okay, the strategy plan for the campaign is in 2 phases. Well, the first phase will be the border communities with Senegal, because this year we're doing the synchronizing bed net distribution. The same time we're doing it with Senegal. So the first phase will be the border villages. Gambia and Senegal, they are border villages. And for the Gambia, we will start from Fonyi, going to Koina.
He said the use of treated bed nets can prevent the prevalence of malaria in our communities. A Rotarian, Dr. Emma Brons, chairperson of Rotary District 9101 subcommittee, said the target was pregnant women and children under 5 because they are more vulnerable.
So we feel it necessary to complement government's efforts to bring malaria sensitization campaign, especially to the pregnant women and children under 5 years old, their mothers. As you know, malaria, for most people, malaria seems to be just fever and they're done with it. But for the pregnant women and children under 5, which are the most vulnerable group, it's very deadly for them and can cause all sorts of complications for them.
Sohna Jang, a midwife, revealed that a lot of conditions affecting women during pregnancy can be caused by malaria, citing lack of blood and delay in the development of baby from the mother's womb.
Every clinic, we discuss issues affecting women and pregnancy. We also emphasize the Fansida that prevent women from malaria. Every woman should join clinic at very early stage of your pregnancy. We also employ women to come with their husbands.
For the news, this is Yasin Jiba.
Well, away from that, fire rescue officers on Tuesday were set to control what could have been a devastating fire outbreak near the National Food Security Processing and Marketing Corporation, formerly Granite Corporation, after the firefighters stormed the scene at once with over 5,000 liters of water contained in 3 fire tenders to avert what could have been a huge disaster. Louis Mendy has more.
Lucky it was contained by the fire rescue officers. The Tuesday wildfire at the Denton Bridge could have been costly, as the rooftop of one of the buildings of the National Food Security Processing and Marketing Corporation was already billowing with smoke. The corporation is housing about 40,000 tons of groundnut purchased by the government this year. Bunja Suso is a divisional fire officer.
They are trying to floss, it's these groundnut cells which is burning, the powder one, which is burning here. So now there's a lot of powder on top of the corrugate which is burning. So they are trying to flush that powder on top of the corrugate with water so that it will not get fire.
Are you optimistic that you'll have the fire under control?
At the moment, in fact, it's under control.
3 fire tenders, one of them from the State House, were at the scene to put out the fire, meaning at once more than 5,000 liters of water were at the fire brigade's disposal to put out the fire. Assis Job, working at the quarry at the Denton Bridge near the fire scene, is an eyewitness.
This started 5 days ago. 5 days ago. They called the fire service, they came, they put the fire off. But in the evening, before we closed for work, we saw smoke coming out again. But we went home, in the morning we came, we also saw smoke coming out. But today, it's different. We just we saw smoke, then suddenly we saw big fire just behind the big tree. You know, that's where it started. And this fire, it started and it went over to the garden, Yaya Jammeh's garden, where it started burning. It was burning all the way. We saw big, black, thick smoke coming from the garden.
And as the firefighters did well to successfully contain the fire for the second time, the hope is that it will not ignite again as it has when it was put out some 3 days ago. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
The governor of the West Coast region has expressed dissatisfaction on ways forests are encroached and managed in his region. Lamin Sane highlighted that Technical Advisory Committee is engaging people and communities to take up ownership of the natural resources, including forest covers. Speaking to GRTS, Governor Sane cited the use of other alternative measures, such as of gas, for domestic household use. Let's take a listen for more.
So the forests in the Gambia, they concern every citizen of this country, even those forests are in the Gambia. So 30 years ago, the forests of the Gambia was protected. They called the Bali Declaration by former President Sadao Kadbajawara. It has paid dividends. The forest was controlled, and people were responsible. People were also very careful to make sure that forest is protected. Even become here as an entity. You can just move a few meters away from the homes. You go and at least you get food stuff. You get your food stuff. But now this is not happening. Because, as I said earlier, there has been a lot of concentration, migration in rural areas, and most of these have people have settled on the forest lands. People have settled on the swampy areas. So this made people to cut down the forest cover, to settle down, which I think should be controlled. And secondly, on that issue also, just to add that today people are just doing their business on timber trade, on charcoal money, because people just want to have fast money. The impact of the destruction is never seen. Which actually should be at least carefully looked into. So one of us have been doing a lot with forestry department. Want to embark on what we call massive sensitization of the communities, especially the authorities, so the chiefs and the alcaldes, and also the VDCs, so that they can actually take ownership of their forest cover for better protection. What you own will be protected. What you don't own will be just be left at least follow that. So this is why we try to make people understand that the forest cover of the Gambia belongs to everybody. And we must have to protect the forest, we must have to protect our artists and everything. And secondly, on this charcoal burning, I think it's not only the community, but for everybody. We must have to alternate the forest supply in the Gambia. We must have to alternate what we use for cooking. Because if you go to other countries, even Senegal here, they are using gas for cooking. So what we can do is to subsidize on that and make that available to every household in the Gambia. When you do that, at least you'll be safe enough to mitigate all these factors.
Governor of the West Coast region, Lamin Sane there, talking to GRTS on means of protecting our natural forest cover. The IMVF project, called Techifi, have recently concluded a 3-day entrepreneurship training and agribusiness startup kit award in Soma, Lower River region. The training, which targeted youth from the TVET, inside training centers in the Central River and West Coast region, is aimed at supporting young entrepreneurs to start a business for enhanced growth. Our LRR correspondent Usman Balde has more on that.
On the team promoting agribusiness opportunities for Gambian youths, the capacity building was designed to empower and support the youths with entrepreneurial skills and financial support to start a business. Beneficiaries Yamandur from the West Coast region and Mamadou Wuriba of the Central River region North both hail IMVF and partners for complementing government efforts in providing youths with skills and knowledge to enhance their livelihoods.
I receive a support. Thank God I receive skills from them. And also I receive in kind 50,000 after during my course I attended in Kuntaya ITC, Kuntaya Inside Training. So, and also opportunities about agribusiness. They are supporting youths, so I'm thanking IMVF. I'm also encouraging other youths who are not into this agribusiness. I would like them to engage in it.
I am doing my own garden in my village, and many people are coming, seeing different type of things that they don't see. And some of my friends, my youth members, are there playing football. They sometimes come and visit me at my garden and say, "Hey, Uri, we want to come and see. Where do you learn this?" I tell them, Alhamdulillah, I learned this from Julangil Skill Training Center with the help of IMVF, because they helped me a lot. They were the one giving me stipend, paying my that stipend I was using it to pay my rent, feeding, everything, and they sponsor me. From there, they provide me with a grant of 50,000 in materials, and that grant has helped me.
CDC used the opportunity to outline the various business areas he lectures the participants during the 3 days training.
One of the major things that we are concentrating is the marketing. You know, they have competitors outside there. You understand? They are not the only people doing this animal husbandry. They are not the only people doing this poultry. They have competitors. What strategies are they going to employ to be able to penetrate the market? These are some of the areas that we are concentrating very well. And another important factor that we also concentrating in is the record keeping aspect of it. Because we have seen that most young entrepreneurs in this country, most of them don't keep records. And record keeping is really important. It's helping you to have a reference point. It helps you to account yourself, and it also helps you to be able to know what resources, how much resources you need in the future.
Susan Chata, agribusiness and M&E and assistant IMVF underscored their commitment to support the rural centers.
IMVF supported the building of the structure and a lot of things that were not in place to ensure that the young people of that locations who were left behind when it comes to TVET trainings were actually recruited and trained. Today, we have a lot of them who are not only given the skills, but they will also be provided with the startup kit. So in these 3 centers, this particular batch we are talking about, these 3 centers, we have not only provided them with the skills, but we go forward to also provide them with startup kit startup capital kits for them to be able to practicalize what they have been taught.
Trainees were also given the opportunity to share their experiences and challenges they faced during their journey to Europe through the sea. Usman Balde, GRT's News.
Well, we will now go with a short break. News from outside the Gambia is up next. Do stay. Welcome back. The number of people affected by hunger around the world has risen significantly, according to the 2022 Global Report on Food Crisis. The report says 193 million people in 53 countries are in urgent need of food assistance. Most of them are found in countries experiencing conflict like Afghanistan, Yemen, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Details in the CGTN report.
Rising food prices have made access to food a daily struggle for many Congolese. Basic commodities are expected to become even more expensive.
The price of beans has risen dramatically here. We're soon going to be selling a cup of beans at 4,000 Congolese francs. That's how it will be because of the conflict in the east of our country. We get our beans from there, and we've heard that the fighting has intensified.
The latest UN report on food crisis says the number of hungry people has risen globally by nearly 40 million since last year. Many of them are found in countries experiencing conflict like Afghanistan, Yemen, Somalia, and the Democratic Republic of Congo, where fighting has been raging for over 2 decades.
There is the renewed violence with the armed groups that is affecting both the local populations and causing a lot of displacement. This creates new humanitarian needs. So while we are trying to think of durable solutions in this country with a huge potential, we continuously have to tackle emergencies that are popping up all the time.
The food crisis is widespread in the east of the DRC, but it's also being felt in the capital, Kinshasa. Nasi Bomoka is a mother of 4 living in the Mbudi neighborhood.
The situation has become very hard for us ever since the dollar rose. We have to educate our children, but there are no jobs. We just keep struggling to make ends meet.
Her husband has been doing odd jobs to fend for his family.
We are struggling to educate our children despite all the difficulties we face. Buying them food and other necessities has become hard. We only eat once a day.
Last year, a report by the World Food Programme indicated that 27 million people in the DRC are facing acute food shortages. The food scarcity was fueled by the violence in the east, poor harvests, and the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. More recently, rising food and fuel prices have been driven by the conflict in Ukraine, which has pushed more people to the brink of starvation. Findings of the latest report by UN agencies indicate that the food crisis in the DRC has not improved since last year, and there are fears that the situation could get worse due to the ongoing conflict in the east of the country that has displaced thousands of people. Chris Sochamringa, CGTN, Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo.
South African city of Cape Town has been named as one of the greatest cities on earth. The UK's Telegraph newspaper named Barcelona in Spain as the world's best city, followed by Australia's Sydney, and then South Africa's so-called Mother City. Details in the CGTN report.
Cape Town grabbed 3rd place as best city on the planet is perfectly timed. Visitors' numbers are rising after a dry 2-year COVID-19 spell.
For us as Cape Town and Cape Town tourism in particular, this is a significant way to create more hope and inspiration for the sector who has been badly beaten down because of COVID lockdown regulations.
The city, known for its majestic views, rich ocean life and vibey culture, warded off stiff competition from London, Dubai and Venice. Keeping it from top spot taken by Barcelona was a high murder rate currently being addressed.
We are paying for 1,350 extra Metro Police officers on the streets of the city, particularly in the most violent parts of the city. We are expanding what we call our care interventions for homeless people, making sure that every one of them has a social worker, gets onto a jobs program, gets into a alternative accommodation if needs be.
There is crime. We understand it, but we also know that tourism is actually the true route to addressing some of the unemployment we have in the city. And by trying to get more people employed and understanding the value of tourism and being part of the tourism economy, we should start seeing less and less crime.
Cape Town has worked hard to regain its stature after COVID-19, and the dividends are paying off.
I just arrived in Cape Town since last Sunday, so I really appreciate this kind of atmosphere. We are in a good place with not lot of sun, but it's okay. It's really, really comfortable to be in this city.
This is my second time coming here. It's so beautiful, especially the Table Mountain. It's amazing. The food is amazing. The people are so nice.
I was born here and I grew up here, and I just love this place. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else but just in Cape Town.
Cape Town is a breathtaking destination for thousands who visit these shores every year. For the locals, the ranking could boost economic growth and give rise to more job opportunities. Julie Shara, CGTN, Cape Town.
Well, that's the news, but before we go, a quick look at our headline-making stories. The Minister of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology has embarked on a familiarization tour of institutions under his purview. The World Bank Group has launched a galvanizing strategy partnership program for the Gambia meant to accelerate growth, productivity and resilience. Plus, the Democratic Republic of Congo is experiencing high level of food insecurity. This as rising food prices impact on the country's vulnerable population. And UK's Telegraph newspaper has named a South African city of Cape Town as the world's third greatest cities on earth, a Spanish city of Barcelona and Sydney in Australia. Well, viewers, that was all we had time for in this edition of the news at 2200 hours. But from me, Winifred Nicole, and the entire news team, thanks for watching and do have a peaceful night.